So, Anne, let's talk about where you are right now in your progression with kidney disease. You're managing it on a daily basis in your daily life, and you're not on dialysis as yet. But in fact, there isn't a dialysis unit in the Yukon. Is that correct?
Yes, and I think in 2020, the Yukon government and BC Renal, they made a pledge, I guess, if you'd like to call that, to improve renal care in the Yukon. And that was the first, I guess, real progress in 30 years up here, which is, it's crazy. It's such a growing population up here. And there isn't really specialist care here for people with kidney disease. It will cost about $2.5 million to $3 million to get a dialysis unit up at the hospital here in Whitehorse, which is a lot of money. So that, I think, is out of the picture. But what the government and BC Renal, I believe, are trying to do is to encourage home dialysis units. And that is going to cost about $1 million, I think, instead of the $2.5 to $3 million to set up. I will say that patients here, with me especially, I see a specialist. I see my rheumatologist and my nephrologist who are in BC, in Vancouver, and I see them mostly via Zoom, but if I have to go in, then I will travel in. Yes, so that's been great as well.
And of course, there are groups and ethnicities that are at higher risk of kidney disease. And I know that this is something that you're actually quite passionate about and deliberate about and want to raise awareness of in sharing your personal story.
Yes, and as we know, kidney disease affects certain groups of the population more. So in women, in Indigenous people, in Asian people, more so than in Caucasian population and in men. So there are definitely certain demographics within that as well that I'd like to bring awareness to.
It's such a silent disease that's what all of this advocacy is all about.
And people, they look at me and I'm very healthy on the outside. You wouldn't think that I had a chronic illness, that I had been suffering for 14 years or whatever and on all these crazy medications. So that just goes to show that it can affect anyone.
And it seems to me that over this decade-long plus journey that you've been on with chronic kidney disease, you've really found some balance in your life. You've found a way to sort of balance your health and your mental well-being. Overall, what does wellness mean to you?
So for me, wellness encapsulates mental health, so good mental health, being resilient, being perhaps spiritually connected in some way, also physical health too. So all of those things for me encapsulate wellness. And we mentioned earlier that moving to Canada really helped that. And also a couple of years after I moved to Canada, when I was living in Toronto, I turned 30, and an intern of mine back in London, his sister also had lupus and she passed away. And she was just about to turn 30. And so that really affected me. So from then, I really looked at my life and I was like, wow, this is, lupus and kidney disease is still a killer out there. It's still a very real danger of death. So I really looked into myself and started to, like I say, really concentrate on my health and started looking after myself much better. So that was the trigger. And so my wellness journey from Toronto to now has really improved and it hasn't really changed. So diet, exercise, meditation, being around family and friends, that's my main important, that's my 4 things that I do. But yeah, it was in Toronto that trigger. It really affected me and it really pushed me towards my wellness journey. I'd really also like to mention the Kidney Wellness Hub. It's a really fantastic resource for people who have just been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease or have been living with it for a while. It's something that I wish I had when I was first diagnosed, because it answers so many questions about diet, about how to live with chronic disease, mental health, physical health, also healthy recipes as well. It also has a peer support group, which is really important. So yes, have a look at the Kidney Wellness Hub. It's a fantastic resource.
Oh, Anne, I'm so glad that you found the Kidney Wellness Hub helpful. And thanks for mentioning it, because it is a new dynamic online microsite that's developed here at the BC and Yukon branch of the Kidney Foundation, and it supports the health and well-being of kidney patients and caregivers as well. And there is that specific component of attention paid to those who are the most vulnerable and the newly diagnosed. It has a YouTube channel as well, so check that out. And so glad that you've been on the microsite and that you found it very useful.
Hey everyone! Thanks for stopping by Kidney Plugged In. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, don't kidney around. Hit that subscribe button right now. It helps us out a ton. If you want to check out the next part in the series, click here. If you'd like to watch other inspiring and heartwarming patient stories, well then slide on over here. Cheers, and we'll see you next time on Kidney Plugged In.